Joe Biden is falling apart at the seams. Ever since the president's disastrous train wreck of a debate, Joe Biden's cognitive decline has sped up tenfold. Every speech is littered with gaffes. He can't seem to stay awake and he needs assistance to walk short distances. Sky News All Stars Megyn Kelly, Douglas Murray and James Macpherson take a look at Joe Biden's latest humiliations and ask how much longer can the president keep this up. Joe Biden's demise is clear to all, and this week's batch of new gaffes only solidified that. The president was wheeled out for a 4th of July event and, true to form, went off track in a rambling, incoherent spiel without the aid of a teleprompter.
Which I want to do. There's 7,000 people waiting at the gate to get in. So if I don't finish this, they can't come in. So maybe if you're hanging around, I'm going to sneak back out if that's okay, all right? Thank you. Remember that famous expression?
Hold on.
They also serve who only stand and wait. I remember when our son was deployed, my wife would go to stand in the sink in the morning, drinking her coffee, and saying that prayer, worrying, always concerned, and all of you. So we owe you. This could not be done without the family support. So thank you. We love you, and I really mean it from the bottom of my heart. Thank you. You got me, man. I'm not going anywhere. All right, I'll come back out when they open the gate, okay? Thank you. One last thing. You know, I used to think when I was a senator, there were always congestion on the highways. There's no congestion anymore. None. We go on the highway, there's no congestion. And so the way they get me to stop talking, they'll say, we just shut down all the roads, Mr. President. You're going to lose all the votes if you don't get in. But anyway, I'll be back out. Thank you. I love you. Thank you.
And at another 4th of July event, he mistook July 4th with Christmas, greeting the crowd with ho, ho, ho.
And we give thanks to our Commander-in-Chief, the President of the United States, the extraordinary President of the United States, Joe Biden!
Oh! Happy Independence Day!
And his official 4th of July remarks were no more eloquent, despite the use of a teleprompter.
And by the way, I've been all over the world with you. I've been in and out of battles anyway.
But in perhaps the most concerning gaffe this week, Joe Biden confused his race and gender in a radio interview.
By the way, I'm proud to be, as I said, the first vice president, first black woman, served with a black president. I'm proud of the first black woman in the Supreme Court. There's just so much that we can do because together there's nothing. Look, this is the United States.
Earlier this week, Joe Biden made a familiar mistake when he was at war with the teleprompter again, reveals Sky News All-Star James Macpherson.
Before we move on, we've got to show, you referred earlier, Caleb, to Biden and his teleprompter. I was amazed at watching this press conference. He's only talking, from what you can gather, to a handful of people, maybe 20 or 30 people. But in this office situation, they set up a podium and the teleprompter because he can't speak off the cuff. And his team have gone to the effort to make sure on the teleprompter he remembers to say again a particularly important phrase. Here's what happens.
More people die from extreme heat than floods, hurricanes, and tornadoes combined. Say that again. Combined, more people die from heat than those 3 other major issues. And look.
So it's like he realized what he just did. It was like,
He's like, I've done it again.
Say that bit.
Oh, goodness.
Oh, what a disaster.
The constant gaffes have commentators slamming the president, with Sky News All-Star Megyn Kelly saying it's over for Joe Biden.
I can't believe it, but he looks like he is doubling down and no one's going to be able to force him out.
You know, the 5 stages of grief are said to start with denial, right? It's not happening. No, it's not the case. And then I think eventually we're going to get to bargaining and anger and finally acceptance. But the odds of a Democratic president being able to withstand the kind of media assault that he is under right now are slim and none. I've never seen it done before. I mean, he'd have to pull a Trump, and he's no Trump. The leftists in our country care what the New York Times says. They care what's in Politico and on CNN and MSNBC and Morning Joe. And they're hearing almost universally the same message, which is he's infirm. He is in cognitive decline. They're lying to us about his ability to do it. And, oh, by the way, he can't win. He can't win. And the most devastating thing that's happened to Joe Biden after the Thursday night debate. I remember this time last week we talked and I said, oh, I can't wait to talk to you after the debate. My God, if only we had seen exactly how catastrophic it would be. The only thing that really mattered after that debate was this release by Puck News of the internal Democrat polls. And those are the best reason I've seen so far to predict it's over for Joe Biden.
Sky News All-Star Douglas Murray agrees, saying the explanation for Joe Biden's shocking performance are falling flat.
The problem is that they have this line they've been doing for the last week, which is, he had a bad night. Well, yes, but the evidence seems to be that he has a lot of bad nights and a lot of bad days. And their attempt, the sort of Biden court's attempt to pass this off as unusual simply isn't credible. I don't think it's going to wash at all.
Donald Trump has launched on Joe Biden's failures, releasing a leaked video that shows him trashing both Joe Biden and Kamala Harris, reveals Sky News All-Star Gabriella Power.
Last week's CNN presidential debate could go down as one of the worst in history, mostly due to the shocking performance by President Joe Biden. But we have just heard from Donald Trump. He's been caught in a leaked video supplied to the Daily Beast, where he revealed what he really thinks about Joe Biden and Kamala Harris.
They do with the debate the other night. He kicked that old broken down pile of crap. Yeah. It's a bad guy. He just quit, He's quit in the race. Is that right? Yep. I got him out of there. And that means you have Kamala. I think she's going to be better. She's so bad. She's so pathetic. It's so amazing. It's just so bad. So I just can't imagine. But can you imagine that guy dealing with Putin and the president of China, who's a fierce person, who's a fierce man, a very tough guy. And they see him, they go, but they just announced he's probably quitting. Good.
Yeah, that's amazing.
Just keep knocking him out, huh?
He didn't hold back, did he?
And Joe Biden's performance was so bad, even he admits he screwed up.
To the US now, and President Joe Biden admits he screwed up in last week's presidential debate, but has vowed to stay in the top job and contend November's general election.
Had a bad night. And the fact of the matter is that, I screwed up. I made a mistake. And, but I learned from my father, when you get knocked down, just get back up.
Despite Joe Biden's resolve to stay on and fight, Megyn Kelly says he will end up having no choice but to step aside.
He's not going to be able to withstand party leadership coming out and pushing him. And mark my words, if these party leaders believe he's going to cost them the Senate and the House, right? Because the Democrats are hoping to reclaim control of the House. So if he's going to cost them the Senate and the House and the White House, they will push him out. They will make it so that he cannot hold on. So that's point number one.
And Douglas Murray says the White House are getting voters used to the possibility of Kamala Harris taking over as president, even though she's deeply unpopular.
The White House press secretary and others have sort of started to mention Kamala Harris. But they do so, of course, knowing that her approval ratings are even worse than Joe Biden's, much worse than Joe Biden's. Her likability is through down the toilet.
Megyn Kelly agrees, saying the Democrats are well aware of how disliked Kamala Harris is, but have to play the DEI game.
She is not an inspirational leader. She knows about as much as this pen on most of our history, and no one wants to spend any more time with her. So her numbers will fall, and they will fall fast. And the Democrats know this. They have to pretend that they're considering her because the biggest voting bloc of the Democrat Party is black women. They can't tell those people they're turfing the black woman who they put into the office because she's black and a woman. How's that going to go? They have to play the game where we're open-minded. We love Kamala. Oh, Kamala, she'd be great. While they bring in the bench